been a while since I've made a video, and I thought I would go ahead and make a video explaining why. I started to wonder if maybe I've been too harsh on the people I've been critical of, and that maybe I should take a different approach to making my videos. I'm starting to think that there may be a more constructive way to go about expressing my politics, especially after seeing Lacey Green being red-pilled, Gorski and Francesca Ramsey actually being able to have a friendly dialogue between one another, and after watching Blair White's video titled, "I'm Sorry." I'm really starting to reevaluate everything. I may have jumped to conclusions in thinking that a lot of the people in the SJW community weren't sincere in their videos. Now I regret not being more respectful in my criticisms, especially after seeing how Anita Sarkeesian acted during the recent VidCon event.
If you Google my name on YouTube, you get shitheads like this dude who are making these dumbass videos that just say the same shit over and over again. And like, I hate to give you attention because you're a garbage human. Whatever, dude.
To kick off the Women Online panel at VidCon last Thursday, the moderator posed the question, why do we still have to talk about the harassment of women? I replied, because I think one of my biggest harassers is sitting in the front row. He showed up with several others. Together, his group took up the two front rows at the panel. Their presence was plainly not, as one of them later said in an apology video he posted to Twitter, to give us the chance we never gave them and to hear us out, but was instead to intimidate me and put me on edge. They will no doubt plead innocent and act shocked at what they characterize as the outrageousness of such allegations. This too is part of their strategy, gaslighting, acting in a way intended to encourage me and the other targets to doubt ourselves and to wonder if all of this isn't just in our heads. But to anyone who examines their patterns of behavior with clear eyes, the intentions of their actions is undeniably apparent. Carl is a man who literally profits from harassing me and other women. He makes over $5,000 a month on Patreon for creating YouTube videos that mock, insult, and discredit myself and other women online, and he's not alone. He is one of several YouTubers who profit from the cottage industry of online harassment and anti-feminism. Together, these people have millions of followers who are regularly encouraged by the videos and tweets of these individuals to harass me and other women who make videos daring to assert the basic humanity of women, people of color, trans folks, and members of other marginalized groups. Because of the constant flood of threats and harassment I've received over the past 5 years simply for being a woman who argues for the basic humanity of women in a deeply misogynistic culture, I went for a very long time rarely participating in public conversations. Being a target of cyber mob harassment is a traumatizing experience. Though harassers seek to deny this, one tactic of theirs is to dismiss this very idea, to say that everyone online is treated the same, everyone gets called names sometimes. In fact, there is simply no comparison between being occasionally mocked or insulted online as a male anti-feminist who occupies a position of power in an overwhelmingly sexist, patriarchal culture, and being a woman who receives a never-ending torrent of abuse while fighting tooth and nail to create an online culture that is a little less misogynistic and a little more equitable. However, despite the torrent of harassment, I recently made a conscious decision to participate more regularly in panels and conversations at public events because I wanted to engage with people who show up in good faith to listen to our ideas. But let me make something very clear. When you have a history of harassing someone for years and you show up in the front row at their panel with camera and an entourage, that is not an act of good faith, to put it mildly. That is itself an act of harassment and intimidation. He and his companions were doing this not just to me, but to other women as well, women like Kat Black and Francesca Ramsey, so that we are all aware at VidCon that this man who harassed us and whose hundreds of thousands of followers have attacked us online for years is here watching us. It's a deliberate act to create an environment that feels hostile, to communicate to us that if and when we dare to show up in public to express the ideas that we express online, the harassment will follow us into the physical world as well. Now, he and his followers are acting as if me publicly calling him, quote, human garbage is the equivalent to what he has done to me. In truth, he and his followers cannot begin to imagine what it is to have to constantly beg and fight for your basic humanity in a culture that fundamentally refuses to acknowledge it. He cannot imagine what it is to spend years and years being the target of flood of harassments and hate and then still go out there and keep fighting. The companion of his who made that apology video I referenced earlier also tweeted that women are, quote, powerful enough to, quote, deal with things like workplace harassment to rape. And power is in accepting a culture in which women are second-class citizens, in which misogyny and workplace harassment and rape are the norm. Fuck that. I'll never settle for that. You're damn right I'm powerful. After everything I've been put through by Carl and other men just like him, I'm still powerful enough to go out there and try to change it. This year, we had a contingent of attendees, some who paid, some who snuck in with fake passes, who had been either perpetrators of this harassment or had, for years, watched as the outrage they cultivated resulted in followers doxing, harassing, intimidating, and even threatening the lives of the creators of these panels. It is difficult to imagine that this group of people who are aware that their channels have been the base camp for years of harassment of some of our panelists did not realize that their arriving early to fill up the 3 front rows of the panel were going to be intimidating. In any case, it looked like intentional intimidation to most people in attendance, and the panelists were understandably on edge throughout the discussion. During the panel, a panelist called out one of the audience members for being someone who has made her life very difficult and wished she didn't have to give him attention because he was a garbage human. Look, we don't want our panelists to insult our audience members, even when we completely understand that the comment exists in a much broader and pretty messed up context. Even when people have said hateful things that everyone in our office disagrees with, we have policy, and it exists not just to protect the people at the show, but to protect our ability to have these conversations. Our founder, Hank Green, talked with our panelists and said 2 things. 1. He told her that her comment had violated our policy, but that he understood that there was a broader context, which, to be clear, we were blissfully ignorant of until this weekend and remain inexpert in. 2. He apologized to her for not having been more aware of and active in understanding the situation before the event, which resulted in her being subjected to a hostile environment that she had not signed up for. We agreed that she would go forward and continue on as panelist on a later panel. This is a difficult situation to build policy to alleviate, but we ask that all of the people involved consider the power of our actions and statements both online and in the real world. But one specific note: if people attend VidCon to collect footage to later use in videos that criticize not just the ideas, but focus on the outrage of their followers on individuals, they will not be welcome back.
He actually flippin' apologized to her. He apologized to her for her breaking his rules. You know, with everybody seemingly walking on eggshells around Anita, you know, people on the panel with her, and Boogie, and even the founder of VidCon, everybody just catering to her. You know, I couldn't help but be reminded of something. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but then I realized it. She is the VidCon Debo.
For me. I won. Give me my money.
You what?
Hello.
I was tripping, man. You want me to ask for my bike back? You know I wouldn't trip. What bike? The Beach Cruiser. The one I let you use a couple of weeks ago. The one I've been asking you about. Oh, that bike. Hey, no, you wanted it back, homie? It's right here. Follow me, homie. Yeah, it's just like it's both ours. Just take it down to my house. Cool.
Oh, shit!
That's my bike, Pop! Oh, you want something too, old man? Huh? No.
Yep, everybody's giving Anita the Debo treatment. Everybody's acting like a straight-up coward to her, especially Hank Green. And I just love that last little statement from VidCon about if anybody uses any of the footage that they took while they were there to criticize anyone. You know, basically, if anybody takes that footage, use against her or in a way that she doesn't like, they won't be allowed back. That's just great. I love how they threw in that little threat there at the end. They were being mature, being professional. Anita Sarkeesian was not. Their side of the street is clean. Hers is not. Now, if they were to not act that way, then Anita's statement and the statement from VidCon would not seem so stupid. They would have dirt on them as well. They would have lowered themselves to the same level. And anyways, I know this might sound a little bit hypocritical on my part since I'm not being so mature in my coverage of Anita Sarkeesian. But I will say that I do regret not being more constructive in some of my past videos. But as far as Anita Sarkeesian goes, my only regret is that I did not do a video debunking her shit sooner. I will continue to call out bullshit when I see it, but I will try to be a bit more constructive in the future.